Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. Now, if you've never seen a Q&A before, there are no questions that are off the table. I will cover absolutely anything. If you leave it in the comments of this video, I will ask it. Now, if you want to guarantee to get your question answered, make sure you ask the question by Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest. Normally, I film these on around about a Tuesday or a Wednesday. If I miss your question, I apologize. It can happen. If I do that, then ask it next week. Leave it to the comments of this video, and I'll get back to them next week. Now, anybody who's been watching these Q&As for a while will know that I don't prep these questions. I don't even look at the questions until the camera's turned on. So the answers you're getting are totally spontaneous, but if the question requires a longer form answer, then I will make sure that I include that in a future video on Magic TV. Having said all of that, there's some great questions looking out here. So I'm going to get straight into it. So here we go with this week's Q&A. Okay, so the first question is from the Creepypasta Poet. Great name. And the Creepypasta Poet says, in honor of the season, what do you think are the best spooky, scary tricks to perform for a Halloween close-up show? A Halloween hidden gems might be cool as well. Great channel, thanks, Craig. You know, one of the best resources for Halloween-style tricks are Alakazam Magic, because every year they put together a series of routines. They put together a series of effects specifically for Halloween, and they also have Jamie Dawes, who is, in my opinion, one of the best bizarre storytellers in the world, do an Alakazam Academy, all based on Halloween-style effects. He's already done one for this year. I think it was his 6th one or something like that. And, you know, you just browse Alakazam. There's so many different effects. Off the top of my head, the latest one that they brought out, The Blessing, is really good. That's the one that they brought out for this year. The Blessing by Nicholas Mavresis is a fantastic story-themed trick. And with The Blessing, you also get 5 or 6 routines by Peter Nardi. That's going to get reviewed on the review show soon. Again, talking about Nicholas Mavresis, one of the best Halloween tricks I've seen. Again, this came out through Alakazam, was The Collector by Nicholas Mavresis, which is a self-working trick, again with a really interesting story to it. And I think it won Trick of the Year or something like that about 3 years ago or 2 years ago when it came out. It's great. Another trick that's not by Jamie Dawes or Nicholas Mavresis, but it is out through Alakazam Magic, is Fright Night. Now, if you haven't seen Fright Night, it's Alakazam's updated version of Andy Nyman's Killer Elite Pro. Now, if you know what Andy Nyman's Killer Elite Pro is, it's the idea of having pictures of 4 serial killers, and somebody picks a serial killer and you're able to predict who the serial killer was that they pick. Very interesting concept. And it's been updated with Fright Night. So Fright Night's a similar idea, comes in pro-size cards, and it's classic movie sort of characters from horror films. So you've got people like, you know, Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees and people like that. And it's the same thing, and you tell this story of, I want you to imagine you're walking through a graveyard late at night, and just a great story, really, really good. Self-working, beautiful routine, as you would imagine, if it's anything to do with Andy Nyman, and just a really great trick. So Fright Night's really good. Moving away from Alakazam for a little bit, you've got the classic Socks by Michel Couet. I butchered the surname, sorry, Michel. And Socks is a classic routine, got brought out by Vanishing Ink. It's the idea of showing lots of pairs of socks. They stop on 2 pairs, and the socks that you've got on your feet match. Well, who is it? Yeah. So Vanishing Ink brought out a Halloween edition, where all the socks are Halloween themed, and the socks that you end up with are Halloween looking socks as well. I think myself and Ryan reviewed that last year, but that's a really great trick. Socks is just a classic at this point, and it's brilliant. And also, one last one that springs instantly to mind is The Clown by Jamie Dawes. Now, The Clown by Jamie Dawes did not come out through Alakazam Magic. You can get it directly from Jamie, although I think Alakazam might stock it. But it's a Jamie Dawes trick, and it's a really creepy picture of a clown, and there's a balloon involved in it, and it's kind of this very shot. It will make your volunteers scream out loud when they see it perform. They really will. Then to wrap this whole segment up so we can move on, anything to do with spiders is good. The new trick that's only just recently come out by Shock Magic, which is Jordan O'Grady's new company. The spider pack is great. It's like a Svengali deck with spiders on it, and he's doing a coin on shoulder with a spider. Great idea. So there's a lot of different, lots and lots of different Halloween tricks. There's millions of Halloween tricks, but off the top of my head, those are the ones that spring instantly to mind. Okay, so the next question is by Seth Howard, and Seth says, book-related question. I know you've mentioned before a book, and that's really good. I know you've mentioned before a book that's a really good resource for getting a stage show together. Would you happen to know what that is? I've only ever done close-up, and I just landed my first stage show. Honestly, I don't think this opportunity would exist if it weren't for your help. The content it's providing me with, I'm super grateful. Matt, Seth, you're more than welcome. That is the sort of message that I absolutely love getting, and you will boss your first stage show. I know you will. Resources for going on stage outside of Magic TV. I know you said books. I'm going to give you a couple of books that I think are really good. I'm going to give you one definite book that I would recommend. However, let me just drop you a resource as well on non-book related material that's worth getting, really worth getting. The first is, and I've got it bookmarked here, the first is on the 1914. You can get a download for £25, and it's called The Art of Stagecraft by Alexander Marsh. Now, if you don't know who Alexander Marsh is, or Alexander McAleer, he is one of the top mentalists in the world. He tours with Champions of Magic, and he's just incredible. And he did, I think it's a 4-hour download on how to perform on stage. And it is incredible. So I know it's not a book, and I will give you a book resource in a bit, but this is amazing. And I've got it here. The Art of Stagecraft presents a detailed series of lessons that unlock the secrets to becoming one of the world's most exciting professions, the stage mentalist. This is not a course that focuses on tricks. This is an entire masterclass in building a stage act, performing it, and getting it seen by thousands of people. And he goes through stuff like your internal process, your persona, scripting, structuring the effects, the routine and the shows, blocking and rehearsals, microphone technique, openers, getting the gig, public relations, and so much more. So that's worthwhile looking into. It's a download. It's brilliant. So you got standing up on stage. You got The Art of Stagecraft. The other thing that I would mention that's not a book is, and I just accidentally said it, Standing Up on Stage by Scott Alexander, which was originally available as a set of 5 DVDs, but you can now get it as a download only through Scott off his website. And it's 5 courses, and each one teaches loads of tricks, but it's all routines designed for stage. And during the course of teaching the routines, Scott teaches all the important aspects of being a stage magician. For my money, there's almost nobody better in the world at performing on stage than Scott Alexander, especially when it comes to comedy magic. And those DVDs are a godsend. So it's well worth looking into those. However, if you want a book, and I know you want a book, you are looking at, here we go. It's a Vanishing Ink book. It's available from Vanishing Ink. I'm checking right now. It's in stock. It's called Stage by Stage by John Grisham. And Assy Wynn said, every magician should read this book. What makes Stage by Stage unique is the scope and intention of this remarkable magic book. Author John Graham has not written any other magic books. He's not released dozens of tricks. He's dedicated his life to perfecting his stage show. And in this book, he shares every part of the process, the tricks, the transition in between the tricks, why he made the changes he did, how to build your own standing ovation worthy stage show. This is not a book on parlor and stage magic, though it contains more than a dozen tricks. This is a book for those wishing to transition from close-up to stage. It's a one-of-a-kind roadmap that takes you through all the nuts and bolts of how to design an act. It's an equal mix of essays and routines, gorgeously illustrated and designed. You can read the rest of the ad copy yourself. It's an incredible book. I've read it. It's amazing. It's well worth buying. There is one other resource that I'll give you while I'm on the subject to it. And I've mentioned this before, but actually I don't think I have. Oh my gosh, here you go, exclusive for Magic TV. We've just taken our next instructor onto the Netrix, and we're going to be announcing it this week. It's Wayne Goodman, who is an incredible performer, very, very experienced when it comes to performing in every single aspect of magic, and has literally written the book on performing on stage, literally written the book. And he spent 2 days with us last week, just filming a ton of content. And he filmed some tricks for sure, but a lot of what he was filming was theory, magical theory, and a lot of it was focused on transitioning from close-up to stage. And next Monday, so every other Monday, if you don't know, on the Netrix, we release content. Next Monday, this will be released, or a lot of it will be released to the bronze level subscribers and above. So the advice that Wayne gives is amazing. So, I was blown away sitting in the shoot, listening to all of the stuff that he was talking about. I was taking notes. I was learning a whole bunch. So that stuff will be available on the Netrix as part of your subscription. So if you are a member, the other option is to go and look at the Netrix and check out any of Wayne's new material. A lot of it will be uploaded a week on Monday, but then we're going to be adding more material to it over the coming weeks and months. So hopefully there's a resource there somewhere that you might find useful when it comes to stage shows, but regardless of what you do, let me know how it goes. Okay, so Sarah Magic says, yeah, do a documentary about Matt learning magic. I've decided I'm going to. My question as to whether I would or not was based purely on would it ruin the magic for Matt? But I spoke to Matt, and he'd love to learn some magic tricks. He really would. He loves magic that much, and I don't think him having some knowledge of magic would really affect the Matt test that much, because he can't help himself. He loves magic, and even if he already is aware of a couple of basic principles, and it doesn't affect his judgment about a trick at all. And I think being aware of a few more principles wouldn't really affect that at all. I mean, if you look at the Fooler videos on Lloyd's channel, Kaylee is very knowledgeable when it comes to magic. She may not be a performer, she's very knowledgeable when it comes to magical technique, and it doesn't stop her from giving her honest opinion on tricks. And I think the same would be said of Matt as well. However, I have got the Reagan test in my pocket just in case there's an issue, but I am planning very, very soon to launch the Matt-umentary, which is going to be a long form series of videos that are going to come out every week, and it's going to be chronologuing the journey that Matt goes from Muggle to magician. And I think it's going to be a really useful series for people to look at, because he's going to be literally starting from zero, and he's going to be going to here, and it's going to be finishing with him doing a show in front of like 300 or 400 people on stage. So that's what I have in mind. I think it'll be a really useful series of videos for people to learn from, because you'll be seeing what Matt's going through every single week. So yeah, let me know if you're excited about that down below, but that's the plan. So yeah, it's coming soon. Okay, so the next question is Chris Ash, and Chris says, what resources do you recommend for someone wanting to routine a Lance Burton-inspired performance with doves and canes and cards and candle productions? Alternatively, is there a possibility to add onto the theory section of Netrix on routining these type of performances, choreography, and music selections, and any other considerations? Absolutely, Chris. And by the way, I hope you're well, my friend. Absolutely. So first of all, as I mentioned previously, a lot of theory when it comes to what you're talking about is getting added to the Netrix on by Wayne Goodman. One reason I wanted to bring Wayne on is because I wanted somebody who could really take the lead when it comes to stage magic, that's got an infinite resource that I can tap into, and Wayne was absolutely that person. However, I'm going to be adding some theory-based stuff on there as well. I really want to increase the theory section of Netrix, and also we're going to be adding a stage section as well over the coming couple of weeks to the next month. We're going to be adding a stage section. I'm going to be adding stage routines on there. I want to make sure that we're using live performance of the different stage routines though, so it's going to be it's going to be a little while. We're cataloguing all of the information that we're getting, and then we'll probably have a big stage upload, and then we'll continue to add stuff to it. So we're definitely putting that stuff on the Netrix. In terms of resources outside of the Netrix, Lance Burton inspired performance. Really, you've got to look at Jeff McBride. You know, Jeff McBride's DVD set from back in the day, which are available as downloads, was incredible. You know, he went through so many wonderful techniques that would be applicable to a Lance Burton inspired performance. A lot of the L&L DVDs went into Stage Magic from memory. A lot of them did, because what you're wanting sort of that classical stage magic. So yeah, I'd go with Jeff McBride. I'm sure. Who's the guy that? Okay, there's somebody else. Tony Clark is a good idea. Tony Clark is a student of Slidini, and his stuff is amazing. It's not who I was looking for, but his name popped up, as you would expect when I'm searching for this sort of thing. Levent, there we go. Levent Magic. So go to, how can I forget that guy? Go to leventmagic.com, LEVENTMAGIC.com. He's one of the best stage performers and manipulators in the world. My salt pour is based on his salt pour. If you go on there, there's a magic products for sale section, and looking through it, he's got the Ultimate Guide to the Linking Rings, 4 DVD sets, the Levent's Ultimate Guide to the Billiard Balls, 3 DVD sets, Levent's Ultimate Guide to the Miser's Dream, Levent's half-dyed colour-changing silk, Levent's Salt Pour Gimmick, which is what I use, Levent's Salt Pour Shaker, Levent's Manipulation Act, and his Manipulation Act DVD is great. It's a complete act taught from beginning to end. Levent is someone that you absolutely should study if you're interested in that if you're interested in that Lance Burton style of performance. Levent is somebody who does it better than pretty much anybody. So go check out Levent Magic. Have a look at the trailers of his products on there. I'm just looking at his Manipulation Act DVD. This DVD is a complete explanation of Levent's Manipulation Act. The content of this is 100 minutes long and includes the following tricks. You got a one-handed vanishing cane to silk, self-lighting Fantasio candle, slow motion candle to ball, the vanishing ball, silk production from a cigarette case, lit match to silk, instant single card to flower, packet style card fan, dove to Japanese throw streamers, flaming dancing cane, jumbo spinner card around body, fan of cards that splits in two and then transforms to jumbo cards, card from mouth, Levent's original left-handed single card productions. I mean, wow, right, okay. So yeah, Levent is somebody to check out. So I'll go with Levent, I'll go with Jeff McBride. Those are your 2 resources. And yes, we will be adding more stuff to the Netrix coming really soon. Okay, so the next question is from Divai Rao, I think. Hey Divai, hope you're well. What should you do if a spectator asks you to do the trick again, especially a trick that you definitely can't do again, like card to mouth? You can, of course, say no, but what should you do if they persist and pester you over and over again to repeat the trick? Right, so if somebody asks you to repeat a trick and it's a trick that you can't do, what can you do? Well, there's a few different options here. The first option is you just blatantly be honest with them and say, hey, a good magician shouldn't repeat a trick, but let me show you something else. And don't take their crap, frankly. You know, at the end of the day, you're the performer. If they persist and pester you, you just go, no, I'm sorry, I'm moving on to something else. That's just the way it is. Maybe make joke of it and say, hey, the first time it's entertainment, the second time it's educational. Something like that works fine, okay? So don't take their crap. That's the first option. The second option is do it again, but use a completely different method. So you used card to mouth as an example, and I'm guessing you're talking about the classic card to mouth where the card goes into the mouth, right? And it's there and you load it in when they're not looking, normally because of that move, you know, with the fan and doing all that. Do it again, but use a completely different method. So say, okay, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to try and get the card in my mouth again. Have the card control to the top of the deck. Do a Mercury card fold, and then say, you ready? I'm going to get the card in my mouth. I'm going to get the card in my mouth, and just put the entire deck into the mouth. and load the mercury folded card inside your mouth. And then go, ta-da, and they're going to go, oh, that's not impressive. Then you take the deck out and you go, and you spit out their card once again, but this time it's gone inside the mouth. So you do the trick again, but you use a completely different method. So they're looking for the original method, and you're doing the same trick again in essence, but you're doing it in a completely different way. The other way that you can do, which is kind of similar to that, is doing the trick again. You know, they say, hey, can you do the trick again? You go, well, no, but let me show you how I did it. And then do a trick that's actually framed as a pseudo explanation of doing the trick again. Again, using your card in mouth analogy, what about French kiss? But not framing it as a thing between a man and a woman, but saying, okay, I'm going to teach you how it's done, all right? Okay, it's very, very simple. All I have to do is take your card and you do a double turnover. You know, you have this already with a duplicate, and you know, I'm not going to tell you French kiss, I'm sure you know it. But the whole idea is that you tell them that you put the card in their mouth like this, but how you get it in there is you switch it for another card. Let me show you. And then you have this other card folded up and you just do this. And you say, did you see the switch? And then when you open it up, they'll change places. So it's like a pseudo explanation of the trick that you've done, but you're actually doing a completely different trick, but you framed it as the same trick or similar trick through the use of clever presentation. And you can do that with absolutely anything. You can repeat a trick and use a different method with absolutely anything. So for example, if you are doing a coins across, for example, and you just had the coins jump from one hand to the other, and they say do it again, well, you can do three fly. Technically, it looks like the same thing from a layman's point of view. It's the same thing, but it's a completely different method. And if anything, three fly is a great follow-up to a standard coins across, because that once they understand the concept of coins jumping from one place to the other, it makes it more visible. So you can do the trick again very, very easily by bringing it up and doing it as a three fly style routine. It's the same with a coin in bottle, for example. Let's say you're doing a coin in bottle routine and somebody says, oh my God, I can't believe the coin's gone in the bottle. Do it again. And you go, okay, well, let me show you how to do it. Let me show you how to do it. All I'm doing is I'm dropping the coin in the bottle when you can't see. I'm just really strong and I'm bending the coin in half. Let me do it with the cap and you'll see what I'm talking about. And now you do Prohibition by Charlie Justice, which is the cap in bottle. Completely different method to the coin in bottle, but from the audience's point of view, from a layman's point of view, it's exactly the same routine. But it's not, it's a completely different method and you're doing it in a completely different way, but they're not aware of that, if that makes sense. The other thing is, you can do the trick again, but with a different object. So again, let's just say that you've used OmniDeck, right? You've just done a routine and you've finished off with the deck turning into a clear block. And they're going, oh my God, do that again, do that again, do that again. And you go, well, I can't do it again. It's a glass block now. I haven't even got the deck, but let me show you something else. And now you do my routine from OmniPen. So you take the pen and you make the pen disappear and jump and do all of the pen manipulation that I taught on the OmniPen DVD. And then you finish off by making the pen crystal clear. Well, you're technically doing the same trick again, but you're doing it a completely different way. Or you can do a jumbo coin thing. Or you can do a coin routine and take a clear coin and make that coin go into a clear coin. Or you could do what's it called? Siri X Pro by Hansen Chen, where, you know, they say, oh, do it again. You've just done the OmniDeck. They say, do it again. You go, well, I can't. The deck's clear. But I tell you what, let me show you something with my phone. Watch my phone. Boom. And now the phone becomes completely crystal clear. And again, you're doing it again, but in a completely different way. So in order to answer your question, hopefully I've given you enough examples there. But to answer your question, if somebody's pestering you to do the trick again, think about how you can actually do that trick again, but in a different way. That will make it more entertaining than repeating the trick, and also more fooling because you're using a different method. And the way that I would do that is think about all of the tricks that you do commercially. Think about all of your 1,000 timers, all of the routines that you do when you're performing close-up. And then, so take a piece of paper, write it down. I might do a video on this actually if you want a more long drawn out answer, but basically take a piece of paper and write down all of the tricks that you do, every single one of them. Then think about what trick you can do that's the equivalent of that trick that looks like a similar sort of thing that you could do again, but it's a completely different type of trick. So that if somebody says, hey, do that again, you don't have to worry there. You don't have to sit there going, oh my gosh, they've asked me to do it again. Right, Craig said do a trick that's similar. What's similar to this? I don't know. And you end up like you're just becoming blank and not knowing what to do. If you do the research beforehand, you'll just immediately know the answer. So if you figure out other tricks that you can do that follow up on the tricks that you already do, as soon as somebody says that, you know exactly what to go into straight away. So that's what I'd do if I were you. That's the easiest way to deal with it. As I say, you can just tell them to stuff off. Just no, I'm not going to do that because that's against the rules of the magic circle or whatever. But if you do want to do it again, use the opportunity to go in a different direction. And that's all I've got to say about that. Okay, so the next question is from Mr. Raffles, and Mr. Raffles said, what would you recommend to clean your close-up mat so it doesn't look like it might be harbouring the Black Death? Hint, hint, yes, I'm referring to your mat. This is a nice mat, what I'm filming here, Mr. Raffles. Yeah, totally. My black mat that I keep at the office needs a bit of a clean, absolutely 100%. I will get to it, I promise. I'm sorry it's offended you. I will get to cleaning my close-up pad. Okay, so the next question is from Justin Hutchins, and Justin says, question, hi Craig, hi Justin. I've had Cheeky for a while now and love your ambitious card routine. Thank you, I really appreciate that. I bought some double backers to do the final kicker, but when they came, instead of being red on both sides, they were red on one side and blue on the other. Nightmare. I have no ideas what to do with these kinds of double backers. Any idea? Thanks. Yes. Hold that thought. Okay, I'm back. I had to go and get a deck of cards. Let me just put this over here for a second. So, I'm going to go through a couple of resources with double backers in a bit. But let me just teach you a really simple routine that you can do immediately that's a really fun use. So grab one of your double backers. This is a red-blue double backer, which is what you've got. Grab yourself a red deck of cards and grab yourself an empty blue card box. Okay, now what you're going to do, very, very simply, is you're going to take your red deck and you're just going to put your double backer, blue side up, on top of the deck. Then you're going to put everything inside the blue box and dump the red box. So you end up with what looks like a blue deck of cards, right? So you show this blue deck and you say, I'm going to show you a trick. You then bring the cards out the box, and this is going to be a classic color changing deck. It's a really fun one. Now, when you bring the cards out the box, they're going to see blue. So they're automatically going to assume these cards are blue because they see a blue box, they see blue cards. It's kind of implied that the deck's blue, right? You can spread through the deck face up. Just don't spread to the end because if they do, they're going to see a red card there. You don't want that. So spread through the cards. And if you want to, you can just give the deck a shuffle, a Hindu shuffle, and point out various cards. And what you're going to do is you're going to do that classic Hindu shuffle thing where you're turning the hand over as you're pointing, so you're flashing blue backs throughout the deck, if that kind of makes sense. So in essence, it looks like this. You would have the deck in the box, and you'd say, hey, I'm going to show you something with a deck of cards. The interesting thing about these cards is the faces change, but the backs don't. You know, when you shuffle through the cards, all of these faces change, but the backs don't. You know, the backs stay blue, but the faces change. Weird, that, isn't it? And it's just presentation, but what you're doing is you're justifiably having a reason to flash the back of these cards. And then when you get close to the end, just cut them onto the table so that this ends up on top. Now, an extra subtlety that you can do if you want to is you can make sure that the jokers in this deck are also blue. So you can take out the red jokers and replace them with blue jokers. So at that point then, you can say, actually, I'm not going to need the jokers for this. Let me take out the jokers. You take out the two jokers and you just casually flip them over and let them see that they're blue as well. And you can put those away in your pocket. You can even have the red jokers in there, and I'll tell you what to do with those in a bit. So you take your blue jokers out. Now they're convinced that the deck's blue, right? Because they've seen blue jokers, they've seen you shuffle through the cards and they're all blue. Everything looks great. So now you spread through and you have them touch a card. So they touch a card. Whatever card they touch, you put it face up there. You turn the deck face down. Again, they're seeing another blue back. And you can take this card and just rub it. And when you do, it changes color to a red back card. Really nice moment, right? Really strong moment, because from their point of view, they could have picked any card. You rub it on the back of the deck and that card turns blue. You can repeat this a couple of times if you want to. So you can have somebody else take a card and you can take that card and have that one turn red. And when you want to go into the finale, you just put put one of those reds to one side. You've still got this red-blue double backer on top. So all you're going to do is get a break underneath that red-blue double backer, and you're just going to take one of those red cards. You can even say, which one shall we use, this one or this one? And they say this one. You take one of those red back cards, you put it on the top of the deck like this, and you say, look, if I touch this red back card to the deck, something weird happens. Now you just pull back a double. So you're pulling back the red-blue double backer, and it looks really cool. It looks like the top of the deck changes from blue to red, like that. Boom, looks really, really good. Now you can turn that double over, and what's really nice is at that point now you can show that the second card's changed to blue, because now the red-blue double back has been turned over because of the double lift. And you can say the next card turns red, the next card turns red, the next card, this card, this card, this card, this card. And you can show that every single card in the deck has turned red. And what's really nice is there's only one gaffed card, which is here, which you can very, very easily just, palm out or get rid of, and you're left with a regular deck of cards. And then if you want to, you can reach into your pocket where you put these two blue jokers, and you can reach in and take out the red jokers instead, and you can say even the jokers have turned red. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can use the jokers on the table to clean the trick up. So if you do replace these with blue jokers, at the end of the routine, you can just take you're going to end up with the red-blue double backer second from the bottom. So all you need to do at the end, if you want to clean up without doing the joker thing, is you can just double undercut the bottom two cards to the top. So you double undercut the bottom two cards to the top, which brings that double backer to the top. Get a break underneath it, and you say, well, every card's turned into a joker, every card's turned into a red card except for the jokers. I'll put those away, we don't need them. And then you just put the jokers face up on top of the deck, stealing that red-blue double backer off. So now you can flash the jokers again, and it still looks like a blue back card because they're seeing the other side of the red-blue double backers. You put those jokers away, and you're left with a regular deck of cards to go into any routine that you want to go into. So that's a really intelligent use of a red-blue double backer. Really intelligent use of it. And you can do that immediately. So I wanted to give you a trick that you can do immediately. Tricks that spring to mind that you might want to look into that use red-blue double backers. You might want to check out Tattoo You by John Bannon, which is an incredible trick using a red-blue double backer. That's great. So Tattoo You by John Bannon is a good start. The next one that I would recommend is Pink Floyd by Michael Close, which is a packet trick using 5 cards, and the backs of the cards change from blue to red, but it looks incredible. It's really, really strong. So they're the first two that I would recommend to you. I don't want to overload you. There is, at some point down the line, it's been filmed and edited, I have got a project coming out on double backers with a company that I've never worked with before. That all will become clear at some point down the line. I love double backers. I have a lot of different routines with double backers, and I think it's a very underused utility item. So I have got a project coming out at some point using double backers, but have fun with that color changing deck, and it'll give you a use for at least one of those things. And check out Tattoo You and Pink Floyd. So the next question is from Vinavist, and Vinavist says, I can't wait to see you for J-Day. I'm so excited. By the time people are watching this, I'm going to be hanging out with you guys at J-Day. So J-Day is the convention for members of the YMC, the Young Magic Circle, or the Young Magicians Club. And I'm lecturing there, and it's going to be awesome and epic and brilliant and all things fantastic. So I'm going to be there, and I'm so excited about lecturing at J-Day. And Ryland's going to be there, and he's going to be doing his thing as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's just sit down and session. I cannot wait to hang out at J-Day. It's genuinely one of the highlights of the rest of the 3 months up until the end of the year. I've been waiting for this for a long time, so I'm super excited. I'm looking forward to seeing you as well. The next question is from Cass, K-A-S, and Cass says, you mentioned the Sven deck and the material you're going to put out. Can't wait. Me too. I hope you like it. Have you had the time to check out Symmetry and Parity by Ben Harris? I've got it. I'm actually going to do an interview with Ben. I've got the book. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but it's in my pile. It's next on the list. I'm hoping to get a review done in the next week or so. Books take a little bit longer, as you can imagine, but I know if it's Ben Harris, it's going to be incredible. Okay, so the next question is from Daniel Carter, and Daniel says, question, how long should somebody be doing magic for before they start doing gigs? Really, it's down to when you feel you're ready. I mean, some people will say years and you need years, and some people will say days. It's really down to the individual. What I will say is don't run before you can walk. There are people out there that I think have rushed themselves into getting ready and going to gigs. There's a joke that I heard once, and it was a joke about a guy who got into magic. His wife bought him a magic set for Christmas or his birthday or whatever, and he got into magic, and he found out there was a local magic club, and he'd only been doing magic for about a week, and he went to the local magic club one evening, and he came back, and his wife said, how was it? And he went, oh, it's brilliant. I learned how to turn two cards over together as one, and it's called a double lift, and you know, it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. So the following week, he went off to Magic Club, and he came back, and his wife said, how was it? And he went, oh, it was amazing. I learned how to hold a coin secretly in my hand. It's called palming, and I learned how to make a coin disappear. And then the next week, his wife said, oh, and how was Magic Club this week? And he went, oh, I didn't go, I had a gig. And that joke kind of sums up my attitude towards this sort of thing, which is you should absolutely go out and perform when you are ready, but don't rush it, because you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the guy that makes magic look bad, that's going out and performing before you're not ready. You want to have, there's a lot of thought that goes into a successful close-up performance. There's a lot of thought that goes into trick selection. How to approach people. I've seen so many magicians that are technically great, but they have no idea how to work a crowd. They have no idea how to build a reaction. They have no idea how to win friends and influence people. They have no idea how to maintain eye contact with somebody. And so they just blunder into the performance, doing a terrible job, and blunder out afterwards. You need to make sure that you understand all of these concepts. And what I would say to you is, go and do some free shows, first of all. Contact your local care home and say, hey, you know, I'd like to walk around and do some magic for your guests, whatever it may be. You know, go out and perform for free. Go out. There is absolutely no substitute for flight time. There is no substitute for experience. And yeah, experience can come from paid gigs, absolutely. But you don't want to set yourself up for failing. You don't want to set yourself up for a fall. And so you want to make sure you're prepared before you go to that first gig. And the way to make sure you're prepared is by having lots of experience performing to people. You know, somebody contacted me once and said, hey, I want to join Slightly Unusual. And I was like, oh, how many gigs have you done? And they were like, none, ever, zero. I'm like, well, you know, I'm not here to train you. I'm here to give you work. If you want to be in Slightly Unusual, you have to be at a certain level to begin with. You know, it's not like I'm going to be training you how to do close-up magic. And so, yeah, by all means, go out when you're ready, when you feel ready, but make sure you are ready and you're not in a position where you're going to be half-arsing it and you're not knowing what to do. Have your set lists ready. Have your intro lines ready. Know what you're going to do when you walk up to people, so you're not going to be a deer caught in headlights. That's the biggest advice I can give you. Only you know when you're ready, but don't rush it. Don't rush before you can walk. There's many, many years. You know, magic's not going anywhere. So perfect and hone your act, and then go out and get flight time. Okay, so the next question is from Erdnays23. How you doing, buddy? And Erdnays23 says, question, what's on your keychain, both EDC and performer carry? I'm doing a video soon on what's on your keychain, and I'm going to break down what's on my keychain. Because I did a video like that about 2 years ago, but it's changed quite considerably. So I'm going to go into that. I'm not going to answer it now. I'm going to go into it in more detail and do performances of every single trick that's on my keychain. Suffice to say, 3 of the things that always live on my keychain are Ignition, Keymaster, and the Pro Mystic Rubik's Cube keychain that allows me to do my a routine with the thought of color very, very easily. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I have on my keychain, and I'm going to talk about it at some point very, very soon down the line. So I'm not going to answer it here. But I think that, with everybody talking about EDC, a lot of people overlook the keychain, and they think about the wallet and the pockets and so on and so forth. But there's so much amazing magic that can take place on your keychain. I'm going to break that down for you in a future video that's coming soon right here on Magic TV. Okay, so the next question is from Frank Tugas, and Frank Tugas says, what was the hardest question you ever had to answer, and did you answer it well? It was probably addressing the whole red situation, which I wanted to do very early on when starting Magic TV, because I knew it would come up. So I addressed it very early on, and I've done a couple of videos addressing it again since, purely because people keep bringing it up, every single time somebody disagrees with me, or every single time I get into an argument, they still bring up a mistake that I made over almost 15 years ago. It was definitely before Ryan was born. They bring it up again and again and again, and it gets frustrating because I haven't got any new information to give you. The thing about this channel is I'm very upfront and I'm very honest. And if I've made a mistake or I've messed up, I will tell you I've made a mistake and I've messed up. If I haven't made a mistake, I won't. And I messed up with red, and I brought that up, and I addressed it as well as I could, and what we did about it, and so on and so forth, and why that whole situation led to me leaving the Magic community. But still, it gets brought up. So I don't know if I did answer it well, to be honest, Frank, because if I did answer it well, people wouldn't keep bringing it up, and people do keep bringing it up. So maybe I didn't answer it as well as I could. I answered it as the best I felt I could. I don't think I could have done any more in terms of answering the question, but maybe I could have done a better job, because it keeps getting brought up again and again and again. That's the one thing that really grates me, to be perfectly honest. The red situation just getting brought up again and again and again. It's like, Jesus, haven't you ever made a mistake? Yes, I made a mistake, and I dealt with it at the time, but still, that same mistake comes up from 10, 11, 12 years ago. And whenever somebody disagrees with me, the first thing that they do is they bring up, oh, Craig's the thief. Nothing I do can change people's perception of that situation, unfortunately. So that's probably the hardest question I've ever had to answer. Either that or addressing the Wayne Dobson thing when I was on the Wizard product review, because that really blew up, and that was not a nice situation to be in either. And addressing that was quite tough. So probably those two, I would imagine, are the two that were the most difficult. Did I answer them well? I answered them as best as I could. Okay, so the next question is from Sam Fuller, Magician, and Sam says, I've got a 20-minute wedding show, stand-up show booked. Great stuff, Sam, that's awesome. However, I've just been told half the guests don't speak English. Not so awesome. What's your thoughts on effects? Egg bag was one thought. There's a couple of different thoughts on this. The first thought is half of the people do speak English, so you focus it on that half and you make it as visual as possible so the other half can kind of see what's going on. The other solution is, if it's only 20 minutes, you try to put together a 20-minute act that really isn't, it's more visual than it is patter-based, if that makes sense. Egg bag you can do to music, absolutely. There's any sort of trick you can do to music. The problem with that is you don't want to set yourself up for failing. And what I mean by that is, if you, like for me, for example, I don't do tricks to music unless it's an illusion. So I don't do manipulation style routines to music or anything like that. I might have backing music over the background, but I don't do tricks to music. I just don't. So if I was in a situation where I had to put together a 20-minute act, I would never think about doing a music-based act where there's no patter, because that's not me. That's not the sort of performer I am. I don't even have the tricks together that I could do that with. And I would ultimately be doing a bad job. And that's not what I want for my clients. I don't want a bad job. Your client is going to want you to succeed. They are probably going to know that the guests don't speak English, right? So I would have a frank discussion with the client, and I'd say, look, I don't speak, I only speak English. Is this going to be a problem? The half that don't speak English, am I playing it for them, or am I playing it for the other half? Because I've gone and done a lot of Asian events in the past, and there's always a lot of people in the audience that don't speak English. And every single time I take one of these bookings on, I speak to the booker and I say, look, I don't speak English. Is that going to be an issue? Sorry, I don't speak any other language than English. Is that going to be an issue? And they always say, no, don't worry. Just that's who we want you to play it for. Those are the guests we want to play it for. So having that conversation, you'll know whether it's going to be an issue or not. If the client says, no, just play it for that group, which is what happens an awful lot of the time, then you don't have to stress about it. But if they are wanting you to play it for everybody, then, you have to then make a decision. You say to them, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this and deliver the product that I want to deliver, because obviously my style as a magician is patter-based. And in order for everybody to understand it, I'd have to make it more based to music and musicality. And that's not something I do, and have them understand that ahead of time. The other option is you could have them supply an interpreter. If there's a group of people that speak one particular language, there's a good chance there's an interpreter there. If you have an interpreter on stage, I've worked many, many times with an interpreter. That's great, because they're just, translating everything that you're doing. So that's an option as well. It's totally up to you at the end of the day. What I wouldn't do, and it just depends on you as a performer. What I wouldn't do, I'd have more confidence in Ryland pulling this off than me, because a lot of the magic that Ryland does is completely music based. But if you're not the sort of person that can pull that off, like I'm not, then you either have to spend a lot of time and effort researching into a show that will work, taking your existing tricks and working out music choices and how you can do them without much patter, or you just soldier on and just hope for the best. But those are the options. I would have a frank and open discussion with the client first of all, manage their expectations, and kind of move on from there. Okay, so one final question isn't really a question. I just want to reply to the thousands, well, not thousands, but it feels like thousands, the thousands of comments that people left on the Future of Magic TV video that I put up on Tuesday, which was the video where I talked about how I get sick to death of people leaving negative comments, and it affects me. And just seeing the comments that were left and how nice they were. Honestly, I've read them all like 1,000 times. So I just wanted to say thank you to each and every person that left a comment there. I continue to get hate comments. I get about 5 or 6 a day, but I'm the sort of person that finds it very difficult to not take those personally. I try not to, but sometimes it's almost impossible to. I try my absolute best. I really do try my absolute best to just ignore comments like that. But occasionally they come through, and I can't do it. And the video that went up on Tuesday was just as a result of me just getting to the end of my tether. But I'm fine, and it was just I just needed to get it off my chest. But for everybody that left a comment, I appreciate it. Thank you. And like I said, as long as this continues to be fun, I will continue to do it. And it is fun. I love making these videos. So yeah, that's great. So thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to every single person that's ever watched one of my videos. Thank you to every single person that's ever commented on one of my videos. Thank you to every single person that's ever said anything. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. It's why I do this channel, and I put the time and effort into it that I do. Stay go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Thank you very much for joining me here once again on a Sunday afternoon. Now, don't forget, there's a few more videos coming up today, including a Magic Live at 6 o'clock. And more importantly, in the evening, we've got a review show special, as so many people have asked me to do a deep dive into SEO magic. So I'm doing it. I'm doing an SEO magic YouTube review show special this Sunday. That's going to be at 9 o'clock. I might do more in the future, but I've picked 4 good products to highlight to your attention that you guys might not be aware of. So that's coming today at 9 o'clock, and then we'll be back next week with a whole bunch more videos. But once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV. you.